From Windsor, Ontario, it's Remotely Zach with Zachary Thomas. And now, ladies and gentlemen, Zachary Thomas.
Hello everybody and welcome to your gateway to the weekend. I am your host, everybody's favorite, Zachary Thomas. Thank you so much. We have a great show for you this evening from AM 800's The Dan MacDonald Show. Dan MacDonald will be here. Cool guy. Well, Ontario, we've done it. We have made it into stage 3 of reopening. Yep, Ontario Premier Doug Ford has finally found the courage to let us open up one more step, which is a miracle because the man can't find his own penis. Or really walk like a step. I don't know, I'm assuming. Well, so much news to get to. CPAC, or as I like to call it, the crooked politicians' asinine crap, was held in Texas this previous weekend. And the main event was Donald Trump, seen here with the American flag, who he is going to have to pay $130,000. One of the openers was Trump's son, Dipshit 1, who gave a speech, though he did sound like a guy that bombed pretty bad at the comedy club. Take a look.
You know, Texas has always led the charge. Well, till about like a couple months ago, and then Austin sort of took over. Like, I don't know, guys. Like, Texas was leading the charge. You're still top 25. But we got to work on that stuff because those people have lost their minds. Right?
What the fuck was that? I mean, you can just hear the heckling. You suck. But what I really want to talk about is the woman who introduced him, his wife, Kimberly Guilfoyle. Oh, remember her?
Leaders and fighters for freedom and liberty and the American dream. The best is yet to come.
Yep, that Kimberly Guilfoyle. Take a look.
America, please join me in welcoming a true warrior and the embodiment of the America First movement, Donald Trump Jr.
Earplugs, get your earplugs here. Boy, she went full-on Screaming Guilfoyle, which sounds like a character out of a medieval film. Release the Screaming Guilfoyle.
The best is yet to come.
But the main event was Donnie himself, who went full-on Trump on his greatest hits. Take a look.
Swing states, he funded unmanned and unprotected drop boxes that were deployed in Democrat-run cities and heavily Democrat precincts to scoop up ballots which were supposedly 94, 95, 96% for Joe Biden because he campaigned so well from his basement. How about where Biden did substantially better in the swing states than Barack Hussein Obama with the black population?
For God's sakes, put him in a home. Yeah, he talked about it all, including the election fraud. I don't know why he is so concerned about the fraud. He seems pretty happy with these two. In space news, billionaire Richard Branson blasted off into space on what is called the Virgin space flight, beating fierce competitor Amazon founder Jeff Bezos, who will be flying out next week, or 7 to 10 business days. You really think he would have gotten Prime? Yep, Branson even lasted a short while exhibiting 8 minutes of floating in zero gravity. Floating in zero gravity and lasting only minutes? That is the high school, that is the high school Virgin experience. A funeral home in Chatham, Ontario, yep, that Chatham, is reviving an old idea to raise some new awareness and money according to iHeartRadio. Life Transitions Burial and Cremation Services Incorporated will be hosting a free coffee drive-thru on Saturday, July 24th. Yep, it's all part of their new initiative, Free Coffee and Be Our Next Customer. We got a great show for you today. Dan MacDonald is here from AM 800. Also, we'll be right back with Weird News. The weirdest news found on the internet featuring Florida Man. Stay with us. Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. We have a good one for you today. He is the host of the Dan MacDonald Show on AM 800 here in Windsor. Dan MacDonald will be joining us tonight. Really exciting. I'm really excited. Great guy. Great guy. Folks, we have made it to the end of a long work week, which means it is time to sit back and relax with the weirdest news found on the internet. That's right, it's time for Weird News, featuring Florida Man. Hit it! Let me ask everyone out there, are you so proud of your feet that you would like to show them off online? You know there's an app for that? Well, there's a site for that called WikiFeet. According to GQ, WikiFeet, the collaborative celebrity feet website, was launched back in 2008 to provide a safe space for users to upload and pursue through various pictures of their idols' feet. Great. As if there's not enough to jack off to on the internet. Just one more thing. The latest celebrity to post on footfetish.org is billionaire and Tesla CEO Elon Musk, who ended up with low ratings. Well, I guess that settles it. He is unpopular from head to toe. Alrighty, time to go to a place where it's all about that feet, no trouble. All about that feet, no trouble.
Florida man, does whatever a Florida man can. Look out, here comes the Florida man.
How far would you go to smuggle drugs? Well, a Florida man named Shaft Bang Adams used a really uncomfortable place to hide his. According to the Tampa Free Press, the deputies were searching Adams when they found some drugs in a really uncomfortable place. They found 4 white crystal rocks inside his penis skin during a strip search. Well, I guess we know why they call him Shaft. Shaft was arrested on charges of resisting an officer without violence and possession of cocaine. The weird places people hide things. England is a strange place, but there is something stranger on one of their beaches that'll have you saying, ouch. Lego is washing up on a beach in the southwest part of England. According to BBC, a container filled with millions of Lego pieces fell into the sea off Cornwall in '97. But instead of remaining at the bottom of the ocean, they are still washing up on Cornish beaches today, offering an insight into the mysterious world of oceans and tides. What was believed to have happened is that a wave hit the ship, the Tokyo Express, resulting in 62 containers going overboard. And to this day, Lego is continuously washing up on shore. Alrighty, dad joke alert. How do you make a tissue dance? You put a little boogie in it.
Right?
That's the weirdness for this week. You cannot make this stuff up. We'll be right back with Dan MacDonald. Back everybody, my guest this evening is the host of the Dan MacDonald Show on AM 800. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dan MacDonald.
How's it going? Good. Thanks for having me here.
No, again, thank you for being on. Alrighty, so you are pretty much the voice of Windsor radio.
That's a huge statement.
That's like calling Jim Crichton the voice of television, which I have done before. So can you give us a little background on how you got into radio, or what about it made you want to do it?
Yeah. Oh man, it's funny because I was into like writing first, and I wanted to work for magazines reviewing music, like concerts and albums and interviewing artists and whatnot. And it was print; it was all about print. So that was my kind of goal, was to get into journalism and start writing for publication. Eventually, work my way up and be like a music journalist. And it was kind of a matter of getting my first little writing gig at a local publication. I met somebody who had a similar interest in music as me. He worked for the same publication that I was working for. And he said, this is 21 years ago. He said, why don't we start a radio show on CJAM? CJAM is still going today, strong, and love CJAM, big fan. And we decided to do a weekly 1-hour show. And we partnered up and we started doing it. And I really loved it. And we carried that show volunteer for 7 years. It ran with us, me and him hosting it. And I was doing writing for small publications. I was being a server for a while too at restaurants and bartending, but I always kept this little 1-hour radio show with him. I really enjoyed it. Then I got hired at the radio stations that I'm working at now, AM 800. At the time, it was 89X, 93.9, and M580. And so I got hired there, not as a DJ, but as a writer. And I was writing for them. I thought, this is one step closer. And I started writing music blogs for them and reviews for the station 93.9. And a job posting came up for an announcer on air at 93.9. And I did not apply to it. I thought, I wouldn't be qualified for that. I want to be a writer. I'm more of a writer. I'm not really a DJ. And then I didn't apply. And the deadline to apply came and went. And then I heard through the grapevine that the people who were doing the hiring thought, why in the world didn't Dan apply? That's weird that he wouldn't apply. He seems like this would be right up his alley. So that got back to me, and I went and saw the boss, and I said, oh my God, I heard that you wanted me to apply. I didn't think I'd have a chance. He said, how would you not have a chance? You've been doing radio for free, unpaid, for 7 years, and you know the music. You write about the music. You go see the shows. You're a shoo-in. Make me a demo tape, and we'll talk. You still have time. Extended the deadline. So I said, no problem. I'll make it a demo tape right away. Ran back up to my writing office and Googled how to make radio demo, because I really had no idea. So I made myself a demo and I got the job. And that was back in 2007. I got the job as the afternoon drive announcer, which is 3 to 7 on 93.9 The River. And it's been a really fun climb and fun adventure ever since. So really, it was a matter of right place, right time, luck, and a lot of work, because I was just doing what I loved. So it all kind of came together organically, and that's how it came to be.
Yeah, I mean, when you're doing what you love, it just flies by.
Oh yeah, the volunteer thing for CJAM. I mean, I didn't even think of it as volunteering. It was a show, and I forgot that it was volunteer time, and I even forgot that I was doing it because I loved it so much. Think of that as experience to put on me, because it was just something fun that I did. And the show, it still runs today. Trevor Klundert, who hosted it with me back then, he still is the sole host of the show. It's being syndicated now in other cities, in Ontario, I think in the US too. It airs Monday nights on CJAM. It's a wonderful show. It's called Girly So Groovy, and it still airs 21 years later. So he's still going strong on CJAM. Awesome guy and a great show. So I'm proud. I'm super proud that the show has lasted this long. It's kind of a classic CJAM show now. It's really cool. I'm happy to say I was kind of a part of the beginning of that.
Have you gone back, like, as a guest, or
no? He won't have me. No, I'm kidding. No, no. It's funny. I think I would love to one day. I think I did once. I think after I started on the River in 2007, I went back to do the New Year's Eve show with him, because we used to have a tradition of counting down our favorite records of the year. So I think I went back once, and I never really asked him. I'm sure he'd have me on for I'd love to one day to get back on there and join him on the air. But no, I really haven't. Not since probably 2008. So I'm horrible at math. That's something that goes hand in hand with being on the radio. So I don't know how many years ago that was, but it was 2008 last time I was on Girly So Groovy. But I would love to go back on. I'm still very good friends with Trevor to this day. I love his musical taste. He has phenomenal taste in music. Does a good job with the playlist on that show.
Out of all your radio gigs, Do you have like a moment that stands out, whether it's an interview or a segment?
Oh, there's a lot. There's a lot. One of my favorite radio moments was interviewing the band Walk Off the Earth. It was on the air, and they were playing the Shores of Erie Wine Festival, and they were just, I didn't really know much about them. I'd never met them before. I didn't really get a chance to research. I didn't think I'd be doing an interview with them. So then they said, hey, Walk Off the Earth wants to come on since the river is broadcasting here. Do you want them to sit down with you and do a little chat? And I said, oh yeah, that's fun. I know, I love their music. We played them all the time. Yeah. So the whole gang of them came and sat down, and I was a little bit nervous. I'm like, I really only know the songs we play on the radio. I can't say I'm a fan, but they seem really cool. You know, they did the song where they're all on the guitar and everything. They're all of them playing the guitar. So they were really cool, really funny. And they were so comfortable and so relaxed and just so cool. It was one of the most fun interviews I ever did. And then here's what makes it my favorite moment. After the interview was done, they came to me and said, hey, Dan, do you know any fans that might want to meet us or hang out or have a meet and greet? And I thought, okay, this is a first. Usually it's us bugging the band, you know, hey, we got a meet and greet, and they're annoyed to do it. They came to me saying, could you introduce us to some fans, or if there's anyone out there who wants to meet? So I went out in the crowd and looked for people with Walk Off the Earth shirts on and said, hey, come with me, you come with me, you come with me, and took them back to meet Walk Off the Earth. And they were so phenomenal. And the fans, I was just so happy that I got to do that for fans, you know, give them this little backstage experience that really wasn't planned at all. We didn't promise anything. So to me, it made me really happy, even though I liked Walk Off the Earth, but I wasn't like a fan. But seeing the fans light up and seeing how giving the band was, that's just one of my favorite moments that goes down as a really, really happy time, a happy event that happened. It was just a positive experience where people were really into it, and they got to kind of meet their heroes. And I was happy that I got to kind of help out with that. So that was really cool.
So in the world of radio, some people from AM 800 transition or come over to CTV. Would you consider a job in television?
No. You know why? I talk with my hands like this. So no, I'm not really that comfortable in front of the camera. Really, not for a show like that. I'm a made for radio guy. I'm way too self-conscious to be in front of the camera and do the prim and proper. I'm kind of a slobby dresser. I don't know that I'm always very camera ready. So I have no desire to take on TV at all. But you know what? Something I learned, if this radio thing taught me anything, is never say never. So I have no idea. If you would have asked me back in 2000, are you ever going to get into mainstream radio or do a talk show? I would have said, not a chance in hell. I want to be a music journalist. So you know what? Who knows where this is going to happen? I might be eating these words a few years down the road, because life is unexpected, and I plan for as much as I can, but I also prepare that I really can't plan for anything, because none of us know what's going to happen or how this whole game is going to play out. So I try to go with the flow and keep an open mind too.
If you do eat those words, we have the footage to prove it.
You do. Now you do. Yeah. So I'll come back on for a redemption or something if I do end up eating those words.
You can't fake news it by pretending it didn't say it.
It's true. It's totally true. But no plans to transfer to TV. And TV just makes me really nervous in a way that radio doesn't. You know, I get nervous for radio, but nervous in a good, excited way. TV makes me a little bit afraid, and I get way too self-conscious of the camera. I start doing this more, and the more I think, don't talk with your hands, Dan, the more I do it. So yeah, it's a strange vibe for me.
You know, it's funny, when I was at the Mediaplex, I did radio every Friday morning, and I just sat there and I'm like, this feels nice. This feels natural.
Yeah, it's a great vibe, you know, like you're alone. There's no one really watching you. People are listening to you, but essentially you're alone in a room. And when I go on the air, and I've done this since I was on 93.9, I always dim the lights down very, very low, just to kind of create like a calming mood. And that's me at my most relaxed, in my own element. And I can just kind of focus on the sounds and talking to people and be in my own little world. That's what I like about radio so much.
So I'm going to assume you don't have the little cameras in the four corners of the room.
No, we don't. Maybe, you know, if they put those in ever, I wouldn't be opposed to that. It's when the camera's in my face and, okay, know your mark and look here and make the eye contact and make sure you're on your spot. Like, that's what I get all, I'm not myself then. Like, I don't mind being filmed and if I can be myself, but I feel like I can't be myself when there's a cameraman I have to worry about. And, oh, you get the light right and you're blocking the shot, or, oh, stay in the shot. That's when I get all thrown off. And it just kind of messes me up. But cameras in the four corners of the room, switching angles, I'm cool with that because it's not really bothering me. It's out of sight, out of mind. It's when it's right in my face that I get freaked out.
Those kind of defeat the purpose of radio.
Yeah. Radio is meant for listening, and and it's one of those things. But that's part of the reason I like it. And the best part about it, I don't have to dress up for work. I always swore when I was young, I don't want to have a job where I have to wear a tie and a tucked in shirt every day. So I can wear shorts and a t-shirt, and it's awesome and comfortable. And I'm more relaxed when I feel more relaxed. Fashion is not my forte.
As long as you're wearing pants,
that's a good rule. When you're in a public place, I always do at the very least, try to wear pants.
I don't want to know where you don't wear pants. So what advice would you give to someone starting a career in radio?
Or in radio, do it, or what were you to say?
Or broadcast in general.
Do as much as you can early on. Write as much as you can, because really a lot of it is writing. Write how you speak. If you're going to read something, write it and then read it out loud. Don't just write it and then read it cold, because it's going to sound like you're reading it. Write it, then read it out loud. Whatever sounds awkward, fix that word, restructure the sentence, do what you got to do. Hone your writing skills is the biggest one. And then equally important to that is do as much as you can. You really start, I mean, I don't want to say start at the bottom, because any entry level position is a great opportunity, but start wherever you can and say yes. Don't be a doormat. You know what I mean? Don't be a doormat and get taken advantage of, but work your way up, and don't be afraid to start here, as long as you have that intention to work your way up, and be prepared to be thrown curveballs, and be patient. I mean, I did volunteer radio for 7 years where I didn't get paid a single thing. And then even when I did get hired on 93.9 The River, I wasn't full-time on there for another 4 years. So, the biggest thing is, I think people think, okay, I'm out of school. I graduated journalism too. I'm out of school. Hire me for the full-time radio gig. That might happen. It might, but it probably won't. So you got to be a little bit patient. I mean, I waited tables and wrote, for local publications for $50 a story for a couple of years, and did the free radio thing for a while. Didn't even realize I was building up a portfolio for my job, but I was. So my advice would be aware of what you're doing. Every gig you take that's related, you think how you could use that for a future job, and apply it and make it good. Just because it's a podcast or a teensy tiny publication or a community radio station doesn't mean you shouldn't treat it like it's your career. Treat it like it's your career and build from that. It's great blocks. Everything is a great stepping stone. So treat it like that. That would be my biggest advice. And I know it sounds tacky and cliche, but like the networking thing, like network as organically as you can. If you know what I mean, if you're into city council, then watch city council and talk to people and post about city council. If you're into music, then go to shows and write about shows on your blog or on your podcast. If you're into books, read the books and post reviews and talk to other authors and reach out to them online. Do what you love if you want to find a career in what you love, and hopefully somehow, in that weird way that life plays out, the dots will get connected. And that's the best case scenario. But do and learn the whole way. That's some of the best advice I can give.
So what I like to do with the guests that normally come on is I do a segment called 3 Questions With, where I get to ask you some questions and you get to pass on one. So choose wisely, and it's pretty obvious.
Okay.
So I guess we already tackled the specific, your favorite horror film. Do you have a least favorite?
A least favorite. You know what one of my least favorite horror films is? It's the remake of Poltergeist that came out maybe back in 2015 or 16. Oh my God. Talk about taking everything that was good about a film and like going to the washroom all over it. It was like so lowest common denominator dumb. Like even the clown thing, the clown looked like CGI nonsense. And I was excited for it because I love Poltergeist so much. And I was so unbelievably disappointed. I watched it all like a train wreck and thought, like, none of the characters were likable. In the end, I was even rooting, being like, you know what? Like, I hope like the little girl dies in the end and like the dad dies. Like, I just didn't care. I'm like, let the ghost win. I'm not even afraid. I'm like, I'm on the clown side in this one. Like, yeah, like I'll team up with the clown and terrorize this family too because they're annoying. So yeah, that would be my least favorite film, is the reboot of Poltergeist.
If you could have any other job in the world, what would it be?
Working at a record store, a record or like a music store. I worked at a video store in the 90s from 94 to 2000. That was my favorite job of all time. And in a lot of ways, it was like an independently owned video store. So it felt like working at a record store because we could do our favorite picks and we had a lot of indie films and stuff. And we had some really cool vibes going on there. And I love that place. I'd probably still be working there if we didn't close down. But if I was not doing this, I would probably want to work at a record store, just talking about music every day with people and suggesting music and learning from people coming in what their favorites are. And I just like being surrounded by records and going through them and actually having them in my hands. I love that. So that's probably what I'd be doing, is working in a record store.
Is there someone in your life that you cannot stand? It's just like, oh God.
Someone in my life I cannot stand. No, but you know why there's not? Because I'm very, very good at creating a bubble. So anybody who rubs me the wrong way, I hit the eject button and like, they're gone. Like they're out of my life and out of mine, because I really hate harboring negativity and like just bad toxic vibes. So if I think somebody on social media is being a jerk to me, I don't keep them around long enough where I can't stand them, because it's like, you know what? I don't need this. Block, gone, out of sight, out of mind. And some people can say that's closed-minded. I'm living in like a little echo dome, and you know what? I'm cool with that, because I want my echo dome to be a happy echo chamber. That's what it is. I want my echo chamber to be a happy, positive place filled with people that I love, that I find interesting. So I'm cool with just being surrounded by people who I like, who I enjoy, who I learn something from. Because negativity, life is way too short for that. You don't have time for that. So you can fight all we want until we're blue in the face. And I've done it to myself online. I've argued, but for the most part, if someone's going to be a jerk, disagreeing is one thing. You can disagree with people, like firmly disagree to the point where you're arguing. But if you can't stand somebody, I always think, why are you wasting the energy on that person? Just let them do their thing and you do yours. And I promise you will always do better. You'll always do your thing better without that person jamming up your frequency, so to speak.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like, just argue with someone, it's like you're talking to a wall, basically.
It can be. And at the same time, sometimes arguing can be a really great thing, where you end up seeing their side. If they're doing it fairly, if they're saying, hey, I agree with you and this is why, and they have valid points, it might be valid for them, but it might not be valid for you. And I have no problem, agreeing to disagree with someone. I can be friends. It's when they start getting personal and start taking the personal shots and attacks and getting really toxic and being all stupid and threatening. That's when it's like, okay, this is beyond disagreement. Now we're just fighting. And it's like, it's not going to get us anywhere. So let's just go our separate ways, shall we? And I have zero problem doing that anymore. And I'm getting much better at that day by day, actually, too.
Yep. Like I said, it's like talking to a wall, which I can attest to because I do it every night.
As do I.
All right. Well, Dan, thank you so much for being here. It was really great to talk to you. You can catch the Dan MacDonald Show on AM 800.
AM 800, 9 to noon, weekdays. The Dan MacDonald Show.
You heard that, 9 to noon. And if you've stayed this long, I thank you for watching. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. You can follow Remotely Zach on our social media pages. You can also follow Dan at DanMac800. Hope I got that right.
You got it.
We'll see you next week. Same place, same time. Good night.
If you made it to the end of this video, remember to please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, as well as give us a big old thumbs up. And also check out our other videos here as well. Please, I'm not allowed to get up until you do.